And hello, welcome to the Podcaster Hour from Ecamm. My name is Ian Anderson Gray, and in this episode, we're going to be talking about killer repurposing techniques for your live shows. Now, in many ways, this whole series, the Podcaster Hour, has been about repurposing techniques. Podcasting or launching a podcast from your live show is like the most amazing piece of repurposing. I'm a massive fan of that. So we're going to be talking about that, but also lots of other ways to repurpose your live shows. And I'd love to know from you what you think is a really great repurposing techniques, because I'd love to learn from you as well. But in today's show, I'm going to be going through lots of different techniques, sharing some cool tools with you as well. So thank you so much for watching live. I can see we've got amazing people watching here. Let me know in the comments where in the world you are watching from, and if you have launched a podcast or are thinking about launching a podcast, that would be awesome. And got some amazing stuff going on today. We've got some free tickets for Podfest up for grabs. A bit more about that in a bit. So Challenge ITV's here. Great to see you. It's been a while. Watching from Vietnam. And you say, been a while, didn't attend Ian's live stream, been busy here. Well, I hope it's been good busy. There's two types of busy, good and bad busy. We've got Dean Lang watching from beautiful Canada. Hope you're doing really well. Miss Dreeks is watching from Fort Carson, Colorado. Beautiful place and loving the music. Yes, I do love this music. And Melissa from just down the road from me is saying, hiya and great, I made it after having no Wi-Fi for a whole week. How did you cope? You know, some people cope without, I don't know, running water, but I mean, Wi-Fi for a whole week. We've got Carl Sullivan here. Congratulations to Carl for winning one of the top prizes in my recent giveaway. Awesome to see you here. Saying hello. We've got Ron from the Netherlands. Great to see you here. The Spoken Truth saying, Brandy from Colorado. Yes, podcast. And yes, repurposing. We've got School Funding Pro Academy from California. I have so many recordings of Facebook Live sessions from Ecamm. I'd love to learn how to repurpose them into a podcast. Now, if you're anything like me, I think it sounds like you are, you record or you save the recordings of all your Ecamm Live recordings. So what on earth do you do with all of those? Well, we're going to be talking about that. Marcus from North Germany. We've got Nadia from Woodside, California. Joshua is here. Great to see you from South Dakota. And the amazing, the fabulous Doc Rock is from Hawaii in the house. Great to see you. And yeah, let me just put up, I've got a new kind of a little animated overlay thing here of all the different live shows we've got here on the Ecamm channel. So the Podcaster Hour is on Mondays at 11 a.m. Eastern. Doc Rock is on Tuesdays at 3 p.m. Eastern. What else have we got? The Showrunner Secrets from the Set is on Wednesdays on Ecamm channel. Go Live Now with Luria on Thursdays at 1 p.m. Eastern. And the Stream Show on Sundays at 7 p.m. My goodness, so much going on. And we've got Martin Buckland from Toronto, 90 minutes above Toronto, Horseshoe Valley. And the Principles of Success, Shauna from California, first time here. Great to see you. Hope you're doing really well. And Live for Wonder, watching on YouTube. CIP from Raleigh, North Carolina, checking in. Awesome. So we've got so many people watching. And just to let you know, we do have a giveaway today. We're going to give away 25 tickets to Podfest. But yeah, today is all about repurposing techniques. So I can't wait to share that with you. So I think it's time to get on with the main show. So as always, what I do in this show is we have a little live session now, but then we get on to the main section of it. And so we cut this middle bit, this beginning bit out for the replay. So I'm going to get on with that now. I'll see you just after this. Hello, my name's Ian Anderson Gray, and in this episode of the Podcaster Hour, I'm talking about killer repurposing techniques for your live shows. So let's get on with it now.
Welcome to the Podcaster Hour from Ecamm, helping entrepreneurs, business owners, and live streamers launch a podcast with success using the power of Ecamm Live. Grow your audience and expand your reach, and learn how to plan, promote, produce, and repurpose your live show and podcast. Here's your host, Ian Anderson Gray.
Well, hello. Welcome to episode 8 of the Podcaster Hour. This is the show that helps you launch your podcast through the power of Ecamm Live. This goes live every Monday at 4 p.m. in the UK. That's 11 a.m. Eastern and 8 a.m. Pacific. And in today's show, this is episode 8. As I said, I'm going to be sharing with you killer repurposing techniques for your live shows. Now, launching a podcast from your live show is probably the ultimate type of repurposing, and I've talked about that on every single episode of this series. But in today's show, I'm going to be sharing some other ways that you can repurpose your live shows. As always, if you have any questions, just put that in the comments with a big capital Q at the beginning so that I know whether that's a question or not. But I would love to know what you think are good ways to repurpose your live shows. So there we go. Well, it's exciting because we've got a big giveaway today. We're going to be giving away 25 VIP tickets to Podfest Global, which is amazing. And the way you do that is you have to put in the comments, you have to do this. So what you need to do is put Podfest, all capital letters, in the comments. I'm going to give you another couple of times to do this. So, but basically, these are VIP tickets for Podfest. And actually, Ecamm Live are sponsoring VidFest this year. So they've got some Podfest VIP tickets on offer today. So all you need to do is put Podfest in the comments, and Caleb and the team will see those and will give them over to me so that we can do a big spin the wheel later on. Now, so this is definitely going to be the case if you're watching on Facebook, on the Facebook page. Caleb, I'm not sure whether you're able to go over to YouTube as well and see it over there. But what I can do is I can definitely see some people watching on YouTube as well. So I can see Principles of Success. We've got the Spoken Truth. Pascal Fantoni is watching on my Facebook page, or maybe on Ecamm, I'm not sure. So hopefully we can put all of those together, and later on we can put all those into the wheel. That should be fun. So I will remind you about that in a bit, but keep those coming. Now let's see. Question actually. So do keep the questions coming. This question from Rob Charles: does Ecamm allow you to save your audio as an MP3 like for example StreamYard and other tools? Absolutely. So it allows you to, it will actually record the video and the audio as an MP3. And it's even better than that though. So you've got this new feature that allows you to record what's called ISO recording. So you don't have to use this, but this is great for podcasters. It will actually record your audio, your guest's audio, the soundtrack, the sound effects, your movie audio in separate files. So that is useful if you want to then edit for later. So that's a new feature in Ecamm Live, which is absolutely amazing. So Rob, I hope that is helpful for you. And Caleb's saying, I will grab them all from the Restream bot. That is cool. Thank you for that. It's great when the technology just works. Awesome. Right, well, keep those comments coming. I can see that Pascal Fantoni is here. Well, hello, Monsieur Anderson. So great to hear and see you again. Hope you're doing well, Pascal. Rob Charles is watching from Chorley, Lancashire. I won't do my Lancashire accent, but great to see you. Hope you're doing really well. Well, just to let you know, the following dates. Now, this is a little bit out of date because we've got last week's. But today, February the 15th, killer repurposing techniques for your live shows. Next week on February the 22nd, I'm joined by the amazing Mark Asquith talking about podcast hosts and promotion. So I've shared a little bit about getting your show onto a podcast host such as CAPTIVATE. Well, Mark Asquith is going to be sharing a little bit more about that, and also how you promote your live shows, so your podcasts, and get more people listening to those. And then the final show of this series. Very, very sad. This will be the last one on March the 1st. Is going to be a big Q&A episode. So I hope you find that very, very exciting. We've got Mark Orr is here saying, afternoon, Ian. And Miss Dreeks is saying, just started Ecamm last night and my live stream last night was seamless. It is amazing. I'm so glad about that. It is. I use Ecamm for all my shows. I'm so excited about it. Okay, so let's get on with what we're going to talk about today. Killer repurposing techniques for your live shows. And the first part of it is the production side of things. I think it's really, really important before you get on with repurposing to think about how you're going to structure your live show. So that makes it easier to repurpose in the future. This is really, really important. And actually what I want to do is share this amazing article that a friend of mine, Amy Woods, wrote on my blog. So let me just put this in the comments. I should have done this earlier, actually, but I'm going to just share this in the comments so that you get it. It is called How to Repurpose Your Live Videos into an Arsenal of New Content. So hopefully this is going to work, if you can see that on the screen. How to repurpose your live videos into an arsenal of new content. It is amazing. And it goes through, I'm going to be covering a lot of this article in my episode today. So loads and loads of stuff about repurposing 101 and the different ways of doing your show, of repurposing your live show into loads of different ways. So definitely check out that article. I've linked to it in the comments. But let's talk about how you can structure your show. If you've been watching this live, you'll see that I've had a live segment at the beginning, and then I have a hook before I then play my intro music and then get on with the show. That's deliberate, because what I want to do is for my replay audience, and if I was turning this into a podcast, I don't want the beginning bit, which is focused on my live audience, to get into the podcast. It doesn't make sense to have all of that more informal chat at the beginning in the podcast and into other types of the video, into other types of repurposing techniques that I have. So I structure my show that makes it much more, makes better use of the replay part of it. So I structure it really, really well from that point of view. So let's go back to this. So I plan and produce my live show with repurposing in mind. You may have little segments in your live show that you want to be able to edit out because it doesn't make sense for the podcast or for other ways. So that's the first thing to talk about. The second thing is that this is not strictly repurposing, but you can multi-stream your live shows. If you use a tool like Restream, which works perfectly with Ecamm, you can broadcast to LinkedIn Live, to Facebook, to YouTube, to Mixcloud, to a plethora of different destinations. And one thing that you can do, this works particularly well with YouTube and LinkedIn. If you broadcast to Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn, you can trim the beginning of those videos off. And that's what I do in this show. So I trim that beginning bit off so that the replay audience gets straight in with the content. And that works really, really well. So what I do is I'll, for example, put the image up here. And then I'll get straight in with my hook. And then I'll play my intro video like this.
Welcome to the pod.
And so I start those videos. If you're watching the replay on YouTube, LinkedIn, or Facebook, you'll see just that hook. You won't see the live element beforehand. And of course, if you've missed out on that live element, you can, of course, join us next week when we do go live, and you can actually watch it live. So that works really, really well. You can get on YouTube, you can have a regular YouTube video from your live shows, and on LinkedIn and on Facebook. It works so well. We're using the power of multi-streaming. So I love that part of it. So the production side is when it starts. Obviously, you've got to plan it, but the production is when the repurposing starts. Plan and produce your live show with repurposing in mind. The run of show is so important. And if you want to know more about the run of show, just go back to the previous episodes of this, and I do go through how you can structure your live show. And that is definitely with repurposing in mind, because this is all about podcasting. And then finally, in the production side of things, you could think about multi-streaming. This is totally optional, but multi-streaming makes it a lot easier for you to go to broadcast to those other channels. If you don't have Restream, or if you just want to keep it simple, then what you can do is just broadcast to, say, Facebook, record the video in Ecamm, and then upload it, edit it, and then upload it up to YouTube and LinkedIn and those other things as well. And I'll tell you a little bit more about that in a bit. So it works so well. I love it. So that is production, the production side of things. And that brings me on to the second thing, which is audio repurposing. So this is the first part of repurposing. So you can turn your live show into a podcast. We can focus on audiograms, audio snippets, and even Amazon Alexa flash briefings if you're feeling fancy. So I've talked all about podcasting on the show and the different ways to do that. Do make sure that you record all of your live shows in Ecamm, and you can record that. It'll record the MP4 and also the audio side of things as well. And if you've got the pro version of Ecamm, you can also save the different tracks as well. So you've got your track, your guest's track as separate tracks. And that is really, really cool. So definitely check that out. One of the things you can then do is, once you've done your podcast, you can think about creating audiograms. And I'm going to share a little bit more about audiograms in a second. So let me just do that now. Let's go over to a tool that I love, and it's called Headliner. So this is, what I've done here is I've taken a little snippet of my podcast from a live show, and let me just move this out of the way so I can actually see what I'm doing. Now, this was, what was this? I can't remember which episode of this. This was episode 35? 36. And I had Christine Tremolay on my show. She's amazing because she actually came up with the name WordPress. She came up with WordPress. She actually named it. The co-founder of WordPress asked her, and she came up with the idea of WordPress. So there you go. Anyway, she was on my show. And what I did is I uploaded the audio into Headliner. This is headliner.app. So let me just put this in the comments so that you've got this, headliner.app. And then what you can do is you can add a progress animation at the bottom. So I've done that. I've got this color here. And this will actually, as you go through, this will show a progress animation, which works well, particularly for the likes of Instagram as well, so people know how long the video is going to be. And then I've also got a transcript. I actually don't have a transcript on this one, but you can upload a transcript if you want. And then we've also got, let's see if I've got this here. Yeah, there we go. We've also got a visualization for the audiogram here. So I've got this as a pulse wave style. Let me just show you this. And I'm going to play it. So hopefully this will come through.
Work on it, but don't use that as an excuse to put off reaching out to your potential clients. Because if you have a message that the world needs it. Like, they're waiting to hear from you. And it's a shame to say, oh, I don't like how I look on camera, and therefore I'm not going to do it.
So that just makes the audio just pop a lot more. Now, of course, we could put a video on here. But if you're wanting to publicize your podcast, an audiogram is really, really good. You can put your guest on there. You can put your other stuff on there as well. So that's the Pulse one. Hold on one second. Let's change it to, say, we could do wave bars like that. That might be a bit over the top, but let's just push it down to the bottom and play that again.
Work on it.
Whoops.
But don't use that as an excuse to put off.
That looks okay, but let's maybe do... maybe a line like that. I quite like this one. Let's just maybe put that into the middle like that. Okay.
Off reaching out to your potential clients,
I think that looks
because
good.
If you have a message.
So there you go. That's one way of using Headliner, just by uploading your audio, and then we can put some audio visualizations on there as well. And of course, you could also put the text on there. If you can, Headliner will actually transcribe the text for you, or you could use a service like rev.com, which I love, and upload that into it there. So I can upload my captions directly onto Headliner. So that works really, really well. I love Headliner. It is absolutely awesome. I use it for all the time, basically. So, so there you go. Yeah, that is those are audiograms, those little snippets, and the other tools that you could use. There's Descript, which I've mentioned before. Descript allows you to edit audio and video and get little audio snippets out there. Works really, really well. Now, I've not done the next one. This is Amazon Alexa flash briefings. I wonder whether, if you're watching live or the replay, let me know if you've messed around with this. I actually don't have an Alexa. I've got the Google version. I'm not going to say it in case I trigger it. In fact, sorry if anyone owns the Amazon version of this and I've triggered it. But yeah, there's a great tool, which a great document on the website, the Amazon website, all about this, and I'll just share it with you. So this is steps to create a flash briefing. Basically what this is, if you have the Amazon device, the audio microphone devicey thing, whatever you want to call it, then what you can do is create like a really short daily podcast. It could be like a minute long, that kind of thing. So what you need to do, first of all, is register as an Amazon developer, create a flash briefing skill. You just log into it, and then you can then upload this this little mini podcast onto Amazon. It works really, really well. So that's what you do with that. The Amazon Alexa flash briefing works really, really well. Let's have a look at some comments, and then I'm going to also just remind you about the amazing giveaway we're doing today. So let's have a look. Who have we got? I've got so many comments. I can't cope. So you've got Kimbucha is here saying good morning, Ecamm. We've got who else we've got? Miss Dreeks is saying, I don't know, I can't mention people. I think you're probably watching, you're watching on YouTube and you're watching on your mobile device. One really annoying thing is you can only mention people on YouTube if you're on desktop. So apologies for that, but that's just the way it is. Challenge ITV is asking a question. Are you using a script to structure the repurposing? So I'm not entirely sure what you mean, but basically what I do is I do have a run of show, which is a kind of a script, I suppose. I structure that. I don't put what I'm saying word for word, but I have bullet points. So I know what I'm saying. I know what's coming on next. So that's what I do. Really, really helpful when it comes to the repurposing. And then it also makes it easier for me to know when I'm saying those certain things for later. So I hope that helps. Rob Charles saying, Bayek Ian, Lancashire accent. Thank you for the answer. I have just found out about Anchor as a podcast provider. They send it to Apple and Spotify. Yeah. So I've talked about this in the past, in the previous episode, about all the different podcast hosts. And if you're interested in podcast hosting, come on to next week's episode, because I've got Mark Asquith from CAPTIVATE. We're going to be talking about this. Anchor's great in that it's a free platform. So that's great. There are some downsides to that, of course, is that if you then want to change to a different platform, they make it a little bit more difficult. But Anchor's definitely great. They make it easy for you as well. Let's have a look. So Camilla says, sweet from Sweden. Checking out all your videos to use my live streams as podcasts. Planning is so important. So true. I love to hear what you have to say about this. Planning is absolutely vital. You need to plan everything for the structure of the show so that it makes it easier for repurposing. So you definitely need to know that. Do that. Challenge ITV says, how do you break down the content for different platforms? Blogs, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, etc. So far, I've just been talking about the multi-streaming or the streaming part of it, and for the podcast part of it. So I've structured the show in a way that I can just take the main section for the podcast. And that's also the case for the video as well. But what I've done, for example, with Headliner, and I'll show you a little bit more about how you can do that from a video point of view, is if I have a guest on, I will just take a little snippet. If they've shared a golden nugget, I will I will just edit that little bit out, and then that will be the little audio or video snippet that I share. If it's a longer section, so for example, in this show, you may notice that well, you probably haven't noticed yet because I haven't finished the show, but I've actually got 3 sections to this: section 1, section 2, section 3. So I could share those three different sections, say to YouTube or to LinkedIn, and do it that way. So yeah, hope that helps. We've got somebody watching on Facebook. I don't know who you are, but saying, hey, Ian Answer-Gray, you're probably watching in one of my groups. So apologies, I can't see who you are, but let me know who you are just by putting your name on there. Rob says, Headliner is brilliant. I use it to add my voiceovers. Rob Charles is an amazing voiceover artist. Let us know a bit more about what you do in the comments, Rob. But yeah, it is awesome for that. So you can add your own voiceovers and do it that way. And Kombucha says, I found out about Headliner from them amazing Doc Rock. Used it only once, but should incorporate it more. It is amazing. Carl is asking, and I'm not sure which bit you were talking about. You need to be, maybe let me know which bit you're talking about here. Can this be done on Google? I'm not entirely sure. Is that the flash briefing thing? If so, I don't think so. But if you create a podcast, they will appear on Google as well. So do check that out. Mark says, do you use contracts or release forms for your show guests, Ian? Really interesting question. No, I don't. I don't do that. I've never actually been, I've been a guest on many, many shows. I've had many guests on my shows, and I've never done that. But it's an interesting point. I think, I'm very open about the fact that my show goes live everywhere. It becomes a podcast. I'm really open about that. And if people aren't wanting any of that, then they won't sign up for it. So I personally, I've never had the need of having a contract or a release form. I personally feel that would just be unnecessary, a bit too much stuff going on. But maybe, Mark, you've had different kind of experience there. So let me know about that. Ms. Drix asks a question. Do you post the same content across all your social media platforms, or do you tweak them to fit certain audiences? And the answer to that question, I'm going to talk about this later, actually. But the answer is yes and yes. So I sometimes will post the same content to different platforms, and sometimes I will repurpose them. And sometimes you have to repurpose them. Sometimes, for example, Instagram TV or or Twitter, they have different lengths. So you need to think about that. And also there's the different audiences. You've got to think about that as well. So definitely check out that. Okay, it's time. Do keep those questions and those comments coming, but I do want to remind you about Podfest. So we've got some more. This is the last time I'm going to ask you about this. If you want to win a VIP ticket to Podfest, you need to type either podcast or Podfest in the comments. I've just realized I put podcast on the comments there. So either podcast or Podfest in the comments in capitals, and we will enter you into the spinning wheel. So we can, I will find out later on. So just put that in the comments. This is the last time because I'm going to get Caleb from the Ecamm just to put it all together, and then we can spin the wheel later, and I will pick 25 names from that. So either Podfest or podcast in the comments. That would be awesome. So I'm going to give you a couple more seconds for that, and then we're going to get on with the next section. Awesome. So if you just joined me, this is the Podcaster Hour from Ecamm. And in today's show, I'm sharing how you can repurpose your live show into amazing things. We're talking about killer repurposing techniques. So if you've got any questions or any thoughts on this, do pop it in the comments. Just put a little cue at the start of it. Cool. Right. So let's go on to the next one. So just talked about audio repurposing. Now we're going to be talking about video repurposing. And I mentioned the article on my blog about how to repurpose your live shows. And that was written by a friend of mine, Amy Woods. She is the founder and the CEO of Content 10X. And they are all about repurposing. They are amazing. and she put that blog post together. One of her little phrases is turning your live videos into video babies. Making sure that your live video gives birth to lots of video babies. Don't just go live and then leave it like that. That's such a shame. You put so much effort into your live show. Why not turn it into a podcast? And why not let it give birth into lots of different video babies so that you can post on Facebook, on Instagram, on LinkedIn, on IGTV, on Twitter, loads of tools, loads of places like that. And there are loads of tools to help you here. For example, there's Descript is a great tool. It allows you to, it will actually allow you to edit your videos and your audio. You can just edit the words out and do lots of really cool things that way. You can do audio as well. There's Headliner, which I've talked about. There's Rev, which is a transcription tool. There are some free ones out there, but Rev is particularly good. They use real-life human beings to do that. And, of course, you can publish on YouTube, and there's Pinterest as well. Don't forget about Pinterest. You can put some snippets onto Pinterest as well. Works so well. Of course, there's other types of tools as well that you could use. You don't have to use Descript. You could use ScreenFlow, which is a great tool for Mac. You could use, if you're feeling a bit, a bit more geeky, you could use Adobe Premiere Pro or Adobe Audition. And of course, there's things like there's GarageBand, there's iMovie, all those kind of things. In fact, I can see that Katie Simpson has put this in. I tried to create video babies with iMovie. Unfortunately, in your case, you found it being a bit of a nightmare as you have to reload it each time. I haven't tried that. I haven't tried using iMovie, but tools like Headliner, Descript is really good. You might find those a little bit easier to use, so maybe try and play around with that. And Doc Rock is saying, I hope you guys win because I'll be there. So that's on Podfest. Mark Orr was saying, so release forms are a throwback from my video production days, but I wasn't sure if I should for my upcoming shows. So in my experience, no, I think they're unnecessary. I'd be interested to know what other people think about that. I think it really depends on what it is. If it's, for example, I think where it is useful is if you are doing a paid summit or like a big event, like a conference, for example, then in that case, I think it makes sense to have a contract and release forms, because if you're making money from it directly, then it makes sense to do that. But for regular shows, for podcasts, I don't think you need to do that. That's my experience anyway. So let's go back to Headliner, and I'm going to show you. Okay, this was another example, actually. Let me just show you another audio example, and then I'll show you a video example. So this is one I did. I had Lou Mangello on the show.
I do believe in the friend, not fan. I don't like that word fan, because in these mediums, that's how viewers and listeners see you. They look at you as a friend. You're so much a part of their life and their routine. When they download the show or they tune in every Wednesday, whatever it is, they look at you as a friend, and you need to give them that same respect back. We're in the relationship business, and that's exactly what this allows us to do.
I kind of wanted to share that quote with you anyway, because it's the most amazing quote, because community is everything. Well, it's not everything, but it's such a big thing when it comes to live video. And the Ecamm live community is amazing. You watching are amazing. And so I just want to thank you, first of all, for turning up, for engaging with the show and with the community. Doc Rock is amazing. He's definitely one of the reasons why this community is amazing, and all Katie and Caleb and the team. So first of all, just want to say that. But this shows you an example of, you can actually see we've got the transcript there, and that works really, really well. But the other thing you can do is you can put your video into this. So these are all Square, by the way. I like Square because it works on Facebook, it works on Twitter, it works on LinkedIn really well. It even works on Instagram. So it's you can repurpose these into portrait for IGTV and Instagram stories, which I do. But I do love the Square format. So this is one that I've done for a show. I've got the transcription. We've got the video from the live show. This is just a little snippet.
avoid all the gobbledygook jargon, strategic staircases, low-hanging fruit, focusing on the crocodiles nearest the boat, putting a record on to see if anybody dances, all of that sort of nonsense, that we see people using, and we laugh at it, but people still talk about it. It just makes me laugh. But for me, if live video is so good because it's you, and if you haven't had somebody write the script for you, if it's genuinely you saying what you're going to say, you're going to communicate at your own level. You're going to communicate to your customer, that ideal customer, the picture of which might be stuck on top of your.
Okay, I won't play all of it, but you get the idea. It's quite funny, actually. You can see the little Skype logo on the top right, which is when I was using, this is before interview mode, so you can see it's quite old. What I've done here is the middle bit is that is the video from Ecamm Live that I've taken, and then I put that on top of an image. So the image where you see Confident Live Marketing Podcast, and the red bit at the bottom is an image. It's not an overlay. It's kind of like the video is the overlay. And then what I've done is I've gone to the transcript, and what I particularly like here is I can click on that, and I've chosen the bold description, and I put that there at the bottom. So that works really well. But there are loads of cool, you can even do, for example, animations. You can do like a little karaoke animation. I'm not sure I particularly want this, but let's look at this, what this looks like. So
camera, and that's the way to communicate. That's how to keep it simple.
Yeah, so you could do that. And then at the end, what I've got is I've got a little video at the end, or little bit of audio at the end, which was my theme music for that. So that's another thing you can do. You can turn your live videos into, or allow them to give birth to lots of video babies. Those square ones will work on Facebook. I've got them to about 30 seconds to a minute and a half. I've got them on IGTV, on Instagram. They can even work on Instagram stories as well if you make them portrait. They work really, really well. And you can use tools like Descript, Headliner, Rev as well. And if you want to make slightly longer clips, you could make them into, say, 3 or 4 minute clips and upload to the likes of LinkedIn or YouTube and do it that way. It works so well. So that's one of the things that I love about Headliner, Descript, and all those other tools. They work so well. Okay, let's look at the comments. So Miss Dreek says, I love this so much. And thank you for sharing. It's my pleasure. Doc Rock is saying so true. I'm not sure what you're saying so true about. Katie says, I love the way you are using your theme music in the background of that clip. And yes, this is I've talked about this on the show before. Audio branding is so important. So I think when it comes to your podcast, for your live show, I think music and audio branding is really, really important. So I use the same music. For example, if I go to this, you might be able to hear in the background I've got the same music that I play at the beginning, and that's kind of part of the audio branding. And so I think if you've got music that you can play underneath, that makes a lot of sense. So thanks for that, Katie. And of course, you need to make sure that what's really important here is that you use music that you have a license for, that's either copyright free or you have a license for. As Luria recommends, I also recommend Epidemic Sound. They are amazing, very inexpensive, and it just means you're covered from a licensing point of view. Joshua says, love that quote from Lou. Thanks for sharing. Oh my goodness, it's amazing. Lou is amazing. Miss Drix is saying all this in Headliner. So yes, so let me just show you. Let me just go back to, I don't know how to do this. Let's see if I can get this right. And then I can go back to this. Okay, so yeah, this is what you see when you sign up for Headliner. You've got an audiogram wizard. So this is turning audio clips into short videos. Full episodes, so up to 2 hours of audio into video. So this is, you take the audio and then you can add your audiogram onto that. Video transcript, this turns your video, basically you can add captions to that as well. And you can also, I've never done this, but they will transform each episode of any podcast into shareable videos. So I think what that does is you probably link your podcast feed into this. And of course, you can just use the basic editor. It works really, really well. And thank you, Principles of Success. The 2 speakers in the square is genius. Yeah, so this is, I didn't come up with this idea, but it's just an easy way to turn a rectangular landscape image into a square. Works really, really well. So there we go. Cool. Let's have a look at what Carl says. Carl says, when first setting off, do you think an intro with theme music is a good idea? How do beginners do such things? So for the podcast side of things, you don't need an intro. You don't actually need anything. You can just get started. You could just record your own voice. If you want to, what you could do, for example, this is what I used to do, is get some music that you have a license for. So use the likes of Epidemic Sound or somewhere else, and then just record your own voice on top of it. So, for example, I could just put some music on like this, which is a bit quiet in the background. I could say, welcome to the Podcaster Hour with Ian Anderson Gray, the show that helps you launch your podcast with success. And that's all you would need. Just keep it really, really simple. Once you've got started with that, then by all means, then spend time. You could even, go to the likes of Fiverr, or my big... I'm a big fan of Music Radio Creative. They do all of my my intros. So the intro that I use at the beginning and the outro is all for Music Radio Creative. So you can actually pay the likes of Music Radio Creative about £15, $15 for them to record the intro for you with just the voiceover. So maybe think about that. Hope that helps. Where do you get your music for the audio branding? So I've talked about this before, but let me just share the 2 places that I particularly like. And I've used loads of different places, and I just find these really, really helpful. So the first place is Epidemic Sound. So epidemicsound.com. They have a personal and a commercial plan on this. So I don't know what it is in other other places, but in the UK it's £10 per month, £96 per year for the personal, which is probably fine for most people, but they also have other plans as well. So you could just do that for a couple of months, download the audio, and then use that in the first couple of episodes. If you keep publishing new episodes, then you do need to have a valid license, but if you stop paying them, then all your previous stuff is covered. That's the first thing to say. Then Music Radio Creative is what I use for my intros and outros. So if we just go to voiceovers, for example, and you can just, so these are all in pounds, but this is Al. So this would cost £15.85.
Take Petey with you for on the road. Go to your favorite download store to.
And of course, I had Mike Russell on the show recently. He's actually, you can get him to do your intro.
You are now listening to DJ Halves in the Mix. Ladies and gentlemen, give way for DJ with Name on 107.1 Taps Radio. Today's episode is brought to you by Check.
If you want an American voice, you can do, well, that's, you've got lots of different voiceovers. You've got, for example, Australian, Irish, you've even got Portuguese, Spanish, and all those kind of things. Works really, really well. So I hope that answers your question. Bill says, where do you find your run of show episodes? If you just go to the Ecamm, if you go to the Ecamm website, go to the blog, all of these have been turned into blog posts. But also if you go to the Facebook page or the YouTube channel, go to the Podcaster Hour and just go through the previous episodes. You'll see it there. Works really, really well that way. Pascal is saying, perhaps a silly question for the audiogram. Do you need to upload a snippet, or can you upload the full episode and then select a short segment on the headliner dashboard? Yes, you can do that. You don't have to use the whole thing. So it's kind of easier to create the snippet first, because then if you upload it, it takes obviously a long time to upload the whole episode. But you can do that and then just select which bit you want. You can absolutely do that. Works really, really well. Yes. And Doc Rock is saying, you can buy an intro from MRC, Music Radio Creative, or if you do check out their Free Jingle Fridays, so they go live every Friday, you can actually win one. So you could do that. Do check them out. They are awesome. Miss Dreek says, I love seeing people get paid for simply using their brain and creative talents. I'm with you on that one. So true. And Martin is asking, what is that voiceover URL? Thank you for reminding about that. Let me just put that in the comments. It's musicradiocreative.com. musicradiocreative.com. And I'm also going to put in Epidemic Sound as well. Hopefully this is actually my affiliate link. I'm hoping this is going to work. Epidemic. I think that's it. If that doesn't work, let me know. Cool. Right. So it is time to look at the getting the winners for the VIP tickets to Podfest. Let's see if we can get this sorted. So, Wheel of Names. Okay, I've never actually done this on the fly, so let's just get rid of those. Let's put all of those in. I think this is going to work. Okay. Hopefully, we can see this. Okay. Now, how do I get rid of that? Let's just customize. I need to do that. I need to... okay, give me a second while I just work out how to do this. Okay, cool. Right, let's do it. And thank you, Carl. Apparently the link works, which is cool. So, are you ready? Put in the comments if you are ready to find out the winners of this giveaway. So, as I said before, this is Podfest. We're giving away 25 tickets to the VIP Podfest as well. So this is cool. So let's do it. Okay. Now is this going to work? Let's do it. So who is going to be the first winner? Okay, the first winner is... Ooh, is it going to be Bill? Okay, it is Bill McConnell. So I'm going to have to write this down. That is number one. Otherwise, I'm going to forget. So number one is Bill. Congratulations, Bill. Where is my cheering sound? There we go. Okay. Let's see who's going to win the next one. Okay, the next person is Challenge ITV. Well done. Challenge ITV, you have won. So, by the way, what you need to do, I should have mentioned this, you need to email marketing at, let me just write this on, marketing at Ecamm. Is that right? In fact, Caleb, could you just let me know what this is? Yeah, thank you. So it is marketing. Let me just put this up on the screen. Marketing. Come on. No, there we go. Marketing at ecamm.com. There we go. You need to email marketing at ecamm.com. Right. Let's do number 3. Who's going to win this? Oh, it's exciting. Oh, it's Gail Alexander. Congratulations. Okay, let's do the next one. We've got quite a few to get through. I'm not going to do them all now, by the way. We'll go on to the next section in a minute. Oh, is it Pascal? Is it? Oh, it's so close. Pascal, congratulations. And to email marketing at ecamm.com. Let's do the next one. Okay, who's it going to be? Oh, is it going to be Principles of Success? Wow, this is exciting. Okay, let's keep going. Who's the next one going to be? Oh, sorry, Katie. It's going to be Craig. Congratulations. Next one. Who's this going to be? Is it Martin or is it Joshua? Martin Buckland! Well done. Okay, we're nearly there for this section. Okay, this is going to be... Is it going to be Melissa? Congratulations, Melissa! Melissa actually won third prize in the giveaway recently, on my giveaway. So congratulations, Melissa. I'm glad your Wi-Fi is back. Okay, so we've got... we've got Carl! It's your lucky week. Carl won second prize before, so well done, Carl. Okay, 10. So all of you are winning a VIP tickets to Podfest. We've got Fernando. Congratulations. Who else have we got? Who's the next person? Of interest. Who else have we got? We've got Preston. And final one for now. We've got Joshua. Wow, that is exciting stuff. Right, well, I wonder actually, I think everyone who's entered might be winning. I don't know whether we've got, we might have actually have 25 people in there. Anyway, there we go. Let's get on with the next part of the show. So I've mentioned all of that. I haven't mentioned video pins, but do check out Pinterest and look at video pins, because that is definitely something you could look into. So don't forget Pinterest. Pinterest can work really, really well. Okay, the next thing is image repurposing, images and all that kind of stuff. And so what I love, so I'm going to show you what I've been doing recently. I've actually got help from a designer, but you don't need to get a designer to help you here. You can actually get, let's have a look. And I think Caleb has said we've had 22 entries. So I think everyone who's entered has won. Maybe if we'll have one more try. So let me just have a look. Let's have a look. So let's go to here. This is easel.com. And what I've done here is I've created, so I've got a show coming up this week, and I'm creating these, for example, these are for YouTube and Facebook. These are the, and for my blog as well. But what I can do is I can then repurpose these and resize them into different ones. So for example, I could copy and resize that. I don't know if you can see this okay. Into, for example, this might look a bit weird, but I could do a Pinterest one. So now that doesn't look quite so good, but I could just resize that slightly. Let's do that. Make it look a bit better on Pinterest. Let's make me a bit bigger as well. Put me down. Oops, what's going on here? Put me down there. Okay, I'm going to have to move that slightly over there, aren't I? And then move that down there. Make that a little bit bigger as well. So I'm going to make that more like 120 maybe. And resize that. That's not the best one maybe. I need to move that image slightly over there. Okay, so anyway, you get the idea. So this is now an image for Pinterest. Let's just resize that slightly so you can see okay. But yeah, this is using easel.com, Easel, or you could use Canva. One of those tools works really well. So create those images, create a template. It's really important to create a template first and do it that way. So images, Pinterest, and you can create infographics as well. Let's go on to the next section, which is text repurposing. Turn your images, turn your podcast and your live shows into blog posts, into tweets, into email and courses, content upgrades. You can use services like Quora and Reddit. And what I use here, I use either like Descript or Rev, and I'll transcribe my live shows and podcasts into words, into a transcript, so I can then turn it into a blog really easily. And if you wanted to know kind of like an example of this. If you just go to iag.me/podcast, so let me just put this in the comments. You can see what I do for this. So if I go to Google Chrome here, and you can see, for example, this is my recent one. So I've got my image there, and this is when I had Janet Murray on my show. So I've got some bullet points up there with some timestamps. I've got my podcast there, so you can listen to.
Hello and welcome to episode 95 of.
And then I've also got the blog post here as well, so you can read the blog, which I've transcribed. And then right at the bottom, you've also got the video as well. So don't forget written content. Written content is so powerful, and we believe it's so powerful that we're turning all of these shows into blog posts, individual blog posts on the Ecamm blog. So definitely check that out. Use services like Descript, Rev.com. They work really, really well. And of course, you can, if it's a very long show, then you could create content upgrades. So this will give you most of the article, but if you want some of the raw nuggets, then you have to leave your email address in there, and you can be given it as a PDF download and things like that. So that works really well. Okay, we're almost out of time, but so much to share today. But I do want to share 3 things that you need to be aware of, 3 things that are a potential problem for you. The first thing is, when you go live, it's easy to just set and forget. So you just go live, you press the end broadcast button or the finish button in Ecamm, then you just get on with your life. And what a waste is what I want to say. You could do so many other things. You could turn it into a podcast. You can turn it into a blog post. You can do all these different things. So don't just be lazy. Put some effort into your repurposing. So important. The next thing is not respecting the platform. I don't know whether this was you, Miss Dreeks, before, talking about this, that the different channels are different. So my LinkedIn audience are different to my Facebook audience. And so I want to treat those audiences with respect. Don't just bung all your content everywhere all at the same time. Build your community on those different channels in a different way. And also respect the fact that, for example, Twitter, if you're uploading a video to Twitter, you have 240, is it 120 seconds? I can never remember. It's either 120 seconds or 240 seconds. That's the limit on, and it's the same on, for example, Instagram stories. You've got 15 seconds. So make sure that you create content that works for those different platforms as well. And then the other thing that's so important is that you if you're not consistent, that's going to be a bad thing. So make sure that you make every single episode that you do, if it's a weekly live show, that you turn every one of those into a podcast, that you turn them into videos every week, that you don't just do it as a one-off. That's so important. Okay, just to let you know, with the Wheel of Names, you have all won. So let's go back to this. And so just to say that all of you who entered, so we've got School Fundraising, we've got Ron Luberson, The Spoken Truth, we've got Noel Hutchison, we've got Katie Simpson, Camilla Hiller, and Miss Dreeks. You have all won. So email marketing@ecamm.com. And it just goes to show, if you don't enter, you don't win. So that's how it is. And thank you, Caleb. It is 240 seconds. I keep getting mixed up. It used to be different, but it's 240 seconds unless you have access to the Media Studio, which you can upload more. So that's how you do that. Let's see if we've got any more questions. Pascal says, can you host the National Lottery next? Everyone is a winner with you. Thank you to Ecamm and Ian. Oh, well, my pleasure. Yeah. So, yeah, and there are more to give away. There are going to be more on a future show this week. So, there we go. Miss Drix is mind blown. And My Virtual Jericho says, was I too late for the podcast giveaway? I'm watching on a slight delay. I don't think you entered, but do you know what? I think you can still win. So if you, I think we've still got a few extra tickets. So if you can email marketing@ecamm, What was it again? It was marketing@ecamm.com. You have won. Awesome. Let's see. There we go. So I think we are at the end of today's show. If you did miss out, I'm sorry about that. But there are more times to win. So I can see that a few people have asked, how do you enter? I think it's going to be on the a future show. So let me just check the details. It's going to be, so let's go through the shows we've got this week. So on Mondays, we have the Podcaster Hour. On Tuesday, I think it's Doc Rock's show. Let me just see. Yes, so at 3 p.m. Eastern on Tuesdays. And the next one is Showrunner on Wednesdays. So I think on Thursday, on Luria's show, on Thursdays, if you check out the Go Live now, Luria will be giving away some free tickets there. So if you missed out today, don't worry. Go on Thursday. You'll be fine. And I'm sure there'll be more opportunities to win there. So just to let you know, just as we finish next week, do check out next week, February the 22nd. I've got Mark Asquith on the show. We're going to be talking about podcast hosts and promotion, what you need for that. Oh, my goodness, so much to talk about today. It's been amazing. As I say, this show goes live every single Monday. It's also been turned into a blog post as well. So do check out the Ecamm Live blog as well. But that is it for this week. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching. Thank you for watching the replay. And until next time, I encourage you to launch your podcast with success through the power of Ecamm Live. See you soon. Bye.
Thanks for watching the Podcaster Hour from Ecamm, helping entrepreneurs, business owners, and live streamers launch a podcast with success using the power of Ecamm Live. That's it for this week, but do tune in next time. See you soon, and toodaloo!